So we have Vulcans dropping, Overlord Steelboars, and Scorpions. I do love myself some Scorpions, but I don't know what I picked here. In the end, I think Scorpions, only if I have the chaff clear. And I don't have the chaff clear, so Vulcans probably are the correct call here. My opponent goes for a Photon on the boats, and yes, I do drop the Vulcans. Since this is on the new patch, I'm also not feeling too bad about playing Vulcans. Because they have gotten a nerf. I think they still need more of a nerf, but they're not the insane oppressive power that they were before. They are just a very oppressive power. I do throw down some shields because I'm kind of worried about the opponent firing me. And it's time to try and go for some tempo and finish this one before the battle turns too south for me. EMP on the Farseers is going to get negated here by the photon effect, at least for the first few rounds. I do decide to drop a missile in order to aid my wasps here. I didn't want to commit any real unit into this because there really isn't much that I can spawn here that is going to beat this, other than maybe throwing a Vulcan on this in this area. And I plain don't want to invest that much. I could missile 8 rounds in a row in order to get the same effect. This time the Wasp should hopefully be winning against the Fangs and the Spider. At the very least they can kill the Spider and the Fangs aren't going to do much. But on this side the round has kind of not turned out too well for me. The opponent's crawlers were actually moving through the fire. Who would have thought that there ever is a situation where Firestorm crawlers don't win against the crawlers. And now I have an infestation of level 2 crawlers right in my long range line here. Still, this shouldn't be too bad. A lot of enemy units are dead. And tower does fall, unfortunately. Stormcrawlers don't get the spider, and it lives. We'd have elite crawlers, which would definitely get through the fire, but also mobilized battleships, steel ball production, some very decent techs here. I don't see an easy way to get a tower snipe and potentially win the round. It would probably have to be a Wraith, and Wraiths would not arrive quickly enough before the fight is actually already over. So I don't think there's a reasonable flank that I can actually do here. I could like try a mass overload flank, but do I want to do that necessarily? It would be an absolutely hard commit here. I do decide to drop another Vulcan. I also decide to drop another Wraith. Well, a Wraith in the first place. And a Phoenix. I guess that is exactly what I'm going for. The Phoenixes are kinda to get the tower faster, and the Wraith is there to clear the way. On this side, my opponent does also drop the mobilized battleship, so he probably was going to get that tower decently quick here. But will it be faster than my own flank? That is the big question. He's taking range on the marksman. Makes absolute sense. And I'm now feeling sad because this marksman is probably going to turn around and just shoot my flank down. I'm not sure if he was, how should I put this, if he saw this one coming. Because I don't necessarily think he did. It's kind of a really weird play to go for a flank here. So I really think that he just positioned it either for safety due to experience, or simply because, well, he wanted it there anyway. It isn't a big surprise that I'm getting absolutely stomped this round. Crawlers are still a huge problem. I had a flank that failed and my opponent had a flank that succeeded. And, oh, you know what it might be? It might be to ward off the boat drop. Maybe that is the reason why he was going for that flank. So I should be careful about flanks with air units that can simply be warded off by marksmen when there's a boat drop, because I can definitely see how he thought that maybe the boat drop was gonna come in from this side. Like on this side, the Arclight would buy a couple of shots and there's the Fangs. On this side, there is just the Fangs, so maybe that was why he reinforced this side with a marksman. Could be, could be. We do have unit drops. We have Mustangs, Rhinos, a bunch of stuff. And I'm thinking, you know what? Why don't I just explode my opponent's front line? The crawlers will clump up, and then they will all explode. And there should be next to nothing left of these crawlers. I can also use it to do a lot of damage to these shields and break them. The explosion does over 40k damage, so shields will get instantly evaporated, and I can use the same thing to defend on this side. And there's only these few fangs to clean up. My opponent has entirely different plans for his rhinos. They are set to move in on the tower. And I should be getting rid of these units one by one. I do throw more levels on the Farseers. In the long run, I think this is not the correct move. And I do throw fire in front of this side. Another Wraith here, probably just to late clean up some crawlers or something like that. I'm not entirely sure what I thought about this Wraith, to be fair. More Vulcans probably were the better call. Anyway, this side, does it actually get in? I'm not necessarily sure. Oh, it does actually get in. And before his rhinos get the tower, which means I do get a good amount of extra seconds shooting my opponent, while he can't really shoot back. Now that the tower debuffs are on both sides, not much is happening, but his tower debuff is going to end sooner than mine. How much is left on both sides? It's basically Stormcrawlers versus Marksmen, but the Stormcrawlers do have the range to compete. While actually this high-level Farseer is taking Marksmen out one by one. It kinda just literally cleared all four of them. The round ends with a win for me. I guess he assumed I would sell out of the flank. To be fair, I assumed myself I would sell out of this flank, but it did actually work. That is surprising. I guess I was just testing that. So a level 2 marksman and level 2 crawlers in this position are not enough against the level 1 Phoenix and level 1 what's it called? Overlord. I do reposition now, try to maybe get these out of range, but it's probably not gonna happen. The marksman is just going to kill them. But there really isn't much purpose for these guys to do anyway. I do also go for Photon in the front. This should hopefully explode a lot of crawlers in this round as well. And I decided to throw explosive rhinos in the path of this rhino push that my opponent can't really sell out of that quickly. So hopefully that is going to also take a lot of units out. Levels and item on the Vulcan. This thing is scary big, but it also has some big marksmen as its opponents. And what else do I do? My opponent, meanwhile, as far as I can tell, he has not yet spent his money at all. He's throwing down shields. Throwing down a lot of extra health, temp upgrades, and more spiders, I guess. That's already all of his money. Well, not surprisingly, this gets cleaned up. And a lot of units exploded here in the front, but evidently not enough. Under Mech Rage and with Underground, or with Subterranean I should be saying, these crawlers are good enough to get in, though the Vulcans do actually clear them out fairly effectively. Fire is still on the ground, but it's looking very desperate. These spiders are simply too tanky, especially this one with the item, level 4 and with the item. And my Stormcrawlers are still cleaning up another level 4 Tarantula that has a damaged item. At the end of the day, it turns out that it was not enough. My opponent wins this one. And I can already tell you right after this, he won another one. So what was my primary mistake? I honestly think that leveling Farseers is a bit of a mistake. Putting some levels and text into these Vulcans would probably have done more. And I think also the Firestorm Crawlers were not putting down large enough patches of fire for these crawlers to die. Especially under the Photon effect and with Subterranean Blitz. They were not strong enough to do this and kill all of the crawlers. Going for like both Incendiary and Sticky Oil Bomb on the Vulcans would probably have had a bigger effect here. I do like these rhinos. They were exploding these units and being very annoying, but they also weren't enough. Maybe I should put them a bit further behind. so that they move up further, but that's also a bit risky. I'm kind of just relying on them tanking a lot. I think if I had invested the resources I had taken for these Farseers, because these Farseers here, they have 4 levels, which means they are worth 750 each. And this one's worth another 600, and this one is worth another 450. They don't really need all that much. Look, they aren't even doing top damage. They are doing decent amounts of damage, but mostly, if you look at this one, it's kind of a chaff clear unit. And it doesn't need level 4 to clear chaff. Not in the slightest. If I had invested this amount of tech into other units, I think I could have gotten a good bit ahead and actually won the game. Which units? Probably the Scorpions, let's be honest. Get some better chaff clear early on and then invest into Scorpions and kind of just ride with Vulcan Scorpion and have these Farseers to get rid of the Overlords that haven't even gotten a level from my opponent. Maybe he would have invested into a level, but honestly I don't see why, because there's nothing here that, well, technically the Farseers would kill them quickly. So I guess I shouldn't say there's nothing here that kills them. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one. Let's turn it around and see how I could have won the last round. Okay, I'm getting super desperate here. I'm getting insanely desperate here. I just want to briefly say that much. Let me try once again. It's just that nothing really seems to be correctly working. I just plain can't seem to break through in that sense. Let me try to invest into Wraiths and make that flank just plain work, hopefully. What I do want is explosive rhinos, 2 of them, and then another Wraith. I want the Wraith here behind these units, and I want the explosive rhino here. It's going to pull some of these crawlers, which is unfortunate, but they should get killed by the Wraith. And let's just hope that these units are fast enough to plain clean everything up. The other explosive rhino is kinda here in order to slow all of the other units here down. Then we throw a level on this carry unit, and that is all of our money unless we sell something. And I think I do actually sell this. And then give myself incendiary on the Vulcans. And probably a level on this tower and a missile here. That frees up the wasps and they can do a lot more. Alright, let's try this. He's missing so hard here. So all of the rhinos got exploded, which means they don't have that much health remaining and should hopefully die rather quickly. The flank is finally getting in, but is it quickly enough? I mean, they are definitely doing work here now. That tarantula died. Now my tower goes down, unfortunately. I still have the phoenixes in the rear. They do get that, and I think that is crucial and very, very vital. There is no more air for my opponent. Do I have the DPS to kill this at all? I think I do. The Phoenix is actually helping enough to kill this. Right, I finally found a solution. Commit harder into the tower cheese. It's barely winning, but it is winning. Alright. Phew, that was a lot of attempts. Thanks everybody for watching and listening, and until next time.